Record. All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Christal. I am here with my August 2022 feature. And this series is for women in real estate, women on the move in real estate. And I know I say that about all of my ladies, but this is really a unique experience because not only am I sitting here with TrinaMarie, who is a realtor slash broker, she is also the United States of America, Mrs. Nevada 2022. Welcome, TrinaMarie.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, I'm so excited for everything that we're going to unpack and talk about in our time together. But this is a really unique experience. I have never had the honor of sitting with an active, right, USOA. And so this is amazing. Before we jump into the conversation, I want to share a little bit about TrinaMarie's bio. So living in her purpose, she speaks, educates, and teaches about eradicating stigmas associated with mental health. She has a platform called Sparkle, turning darkness into light. Her profound belief is that people will ask for help when they feel inspired, encouraged, and empowered without repercussions. Her mission is to change society's perception on how they view mental health and mental illness. Her forms of therapy consist of sports, photography, music, art, fashion, and of course, shoes. Working as a realtor, she actually donates parts of her proceeds to support mental health causes. And finally, her goal is to be a connector of people and valuable resources in order to help save lives, because no one should have to suffer in silence. I love everything that you're about. So I really want us to spend time about what your platform, your mission is. However, first, let's start talking about the real estate and then we'll move into that. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me, because out of all the things that are on your resume, which is long with awards and education, degrees, that type of thing, real estate is relatively new, like 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, or a little less than 5 years, almost 5 years. Yes.
Okay. So why real estate? How did you get into it? And then tell me what your company looks like right now.
Okay. So why real estate? So actually, I'm gonna back up just a little bit.
Okay.
Human resources professional for almost 15 years. So leadership, mentoring, developing programs, policy, procedures, laying off people, disciplinary, creating, succession plans. I love doing everything that's positive. I hated everything that was negative. It was extremely draining. And if people could remember, it's funny because this kind of moves into the real estate, but if people could remember, we went through a recession and then a depression, right? In 2010, the market completely crashed, which everyone is a completely different market now than it was then. That was extremely draining to have hired people, sometimes just recent, and then have to go and then let them go like that. I couldn't. It was a lot to handle. And on top of that, I went through a divorce. And, it was something that I, didn't want, something that I said that I would never get. Both my grandfathers were pastors. So I was raised that, you do whatever you have to do to keep your family together. So, that was, it really, really hit me hard. And we'll move into it later, but that's kind of part of my story of why my platform is so incredibly important to me. When it came to, people didn't realize that I would close my door and would be in tears and then fix myself up, then open the door and then have a meeting. And when I went to say, mental illness, because I was in a depression and didn't realize it at that moment, comes in different shapes. And, I could have a happy face and I could look okay. That didn't mean that I was okay. It just meant that I needed to get through the day. That's all that it meant. And so fast forward, I was like, you know what? I couldn't do it anymore. I just needed to change. I started taking classes. I was like, you know what? I need to do something to kind of like get a break from dealing with people all the time, like the negative part of people. I love the positive part. I love seeing people move up. I love seeing people reach their goals and helping people to figure out how to solve solutions and problems. I adore that.
Yes.
And then I said, you know what, I'll take a photography class because I love taking pictures. And my dad used to take pictures of all the time. So I was like, oh, I'll take pictures. Didn't realize I was really, really good. So then, me being an A-type personality, I was like, I can get a degree in it. Sure, why not? So I took
Why not?
so many classes. Why not? So I got a degree. I got a photography degree. I was taking classes. One year I submitted, you could submit your work, and you had judges come in, professors, teachers, art teachers, photography teachers come in, and they would judge the work. I had 16, 17 of like my 21 or 23 of my art submissions get selected to be on the wall.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. So I was like, oh, I guess I am pretty good. So it was like my outlet. And then I thought about it later, and I said, oh gosh, it reminded me of when I used to play sports, especially basketball. It was like my happy place where I felt like I had no problems. Like the world was perfect. So that's how I felt about photography. So I took a break, and I actually went in and opened up a photography company. But it's different when you had to depend on it for a living.
Yes.
And think about that part.
Such a true statement. Yeah.
So when I had to depend on it for a living, and I'm business first, I was like, okay, this is not so great. It used to be my outlet, but no, you guys want me to do this for free? No, I don't want to do this anymore. So fast forward, I met my husband. That's another story. It was awesome. And then he was just like, you know what? You're in this place. I was like, I think I want to get my license. He's like, do it. So I got my license in real estate. And then I realized, gosh, it reminded me a lot of the HR days of, I said then too, like I was a therapist because people would come to the office and I would have to help them.
For
so
HR,
I said,
for sure.
Okay, I would have to help people overcome a hurdle. And although it's stressful, and it is, it really says it's not that easy. People think it's so easy. It's not that easy. What I enjoy about it is helping people overcome their fears. Right? Because people will find a reason to cancel their plans and cancel their goals because of a fear. That there's a possibility that it could happen. Yeah, but I'm like, no. So my job is to help you. I'm the coach. My job is to help you get over to the finish line.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got into real estate. And I think that's how people began to trust me, because I'm just very authentic, and I'll tell you the truth. I'm like, hey, I'm going to tell you the truth because I have to. Yeah. So I have to prepare you. So I always say, I got to prepare you for the worst, but we're going to hope for the best.
Yes.
So we're going to be positive, but I just want you to be prepared. So that way you don't go, oh, why didn't you tell me? And now you're blindsided. Because I like to just know, so I'm prepared. And then that way, if it does happen, I'm like, okay, it's not as bad as I thought. Let's just and move forward.
Yeah. No, that's so good. And I love that combination of how you describe yourself, because when you're working with a realtor, on usually what is most of our most expensive purchase that we make in our lives, even if we make it multiple times, it's still a big financial transaction. We want someone who's going to be realistic with us and optimistic with us. And that's exactly what I hear from you. Like, I'm going to tell you the truth, but we're going to hope for the best, right? This may also happen. So I love that so much. And actually, if you don't mind, because for those of you listening and watching on YouTube, TrinaMarie and actually and I have a connection through what's on my finger here. Her and her husband have a diamond company, and my now husband purchased my wedding ring from their company. So that's our connection. Yes. Would you like to share? There you go. Shout them out.
Thank you, babe. You're welcome, babes.
So do you mind sharing briefly a little bit about how you two met?
Yeah, so through a mutual acquaintance / friend. So during my photography days, I actually was shooting the cover of a magazine, and the magazine account manager invited me to networking party. It was like a swim networking party. So you kind of felt the obligation. And it was on a Sunday is why I felt the obligation, because Sundays I'm kind of like, I don't want to do anything. That's like my one day that I truly believe is your day of rest.
Yes.
And I lived in Henderson at the time, and it was way in the Northwest.
Okay.
And so I was just like, sure. So I went, and I remember arriving, and I went to go say, Joy Rosen, I'm gonna say her name. And I said, hi, Joy. And she's like, oh, there's somebody I want you to meet. I was like, okay, I thought it was for business. Sure.
Yeah.
I go and I said hi. And she told him the same thing. There was somebody that he wanted.
Oh, she knew all along what she was doing. I love that.
And it took 3 times though, because I remember I said hi, I talked to him, then I went back. And then she said, TrinaMarie, didn't I tell you? She's like, TrinaMarie, didn't I tell you I want you to go and meet Rich? And I'm like, okay. So I went back and I talked to him some more, right? And I'm not, because at that time I still wasn't completely ready yet to date someone else. So, you're kind of, I'm not there to like meet anybody.
Yeah.
At all.
You weren't in that mindset.
Not in that mindset whatsoever. Yeah. And so I was like, okay. So I went back and I talked some more. And then I went back the 3rd time to talk to her. And I remember I sat down that time because I was just going to say, thank you so much for inviting me, which I started off that conversation. And real quick, I remember she was sitting, she had crossed her arms and her legs were swinging back and forth. And it was the serious look. And she was sitting to my left. I remember exactly where we're sitting in the patio. God. The pool was in front, the house was behind us. And she said, TrinaMarie, didn't I tell you to go talk to Rich? And it was like the mom stern look and reaction, the body language, everything. And it was like the yes, ma'am.
Right.
I got up and then in my mind I went, oh, she meant talk to Rich.
Talk to him.
So I just like, okay. So I got up, and it's so funny because he was sitting with him, and it was him, and it was another person that I knew. And I remember so sorry, my phone is okay. It was another person that I knew, and I said, oh, I still had it because I walked up, I said, hey, gentlemen. And I went and I can like scoot and sit right in between them.
Yeah.
Parted ways. And I sat down and then I just started flirting. And then we were talking, but he wasn't ready either. He walked me to the car and I get to the car and I said, oh, you're still not over your ex, huh?
I love this. This is good.
Months before he asked me out. Okay. No, but it was great.
But Joy knew that this was meant to be. I love that.
Yes.
That is, and look, her persistence paid off because look at you guys now. How long have you guys been married now?
We've been married, 4 years.
I love that.
Yeah. April made 4 years.
Yeah. You two are like a power couple in our community.
Oh no, I appreciate that. He is truly my best friend.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I tell people are like, oh, you guys are so. I said, oh no, he gets on my nerves. I'm sure he'll tell you I get on his nerves too. But we're like in it. We figure out. We're like, hey, we're in this. Each other. We really do get each other.
I love that. Yeah, thank you for sharing that story. I love that so much. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more about your mental health platform. But before we do that, tell us a little bit about, because I'm so happy that you said earlier that, people think real estate is easy, but it really isn't, right? They think that you can just go out there and make, drive your Tesla, make $1 million a month and
right.
Right. And it's not quite like that.
Show a couple of houses, that's it. So you get a big check.
Yeah, there's so much more to it than that. And so tell us, how do you manage, because one thing that my listeners like to hear is like a relationship angle. So how do you keep your most important relationships intact, right? While managing being an active realtor broker, you're holding your title, speaking, working your platform, how do you keep your relationships priority? Tell us what that looks like.
I'm still trying to figure it out.
Okay, that's fair. I appreciate you saying that. That's
Here are
so
some
good.
things
Yeah.
that I have put into place that has helped me though to stay afloat.
Yeah. I
Um,
love
I would
that.
say my most important relationship is my relationship with God, and not to force that on
Mm,
anybody, but for me, it's very important. And I do believe that we all need to
mm.
have a faith in something. Okay.
Yes.
Mine
Yes.
happened to be in God. He
Yes.
definitely keeps me grounded. He's definitely the one that will let me know when I'm wrong, even when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to my spouse, when it comes to myself, when it comes to others. So that's
Yeah.
definitely important. The next thing that I'm still learning to do, but I have to say it, is to put myself second. And that's very
Mm.
hard, but that is part of my platform because we're taught not to, because it's selfish is what we were taught, but it's not,
Mhm.
right? Because if you think
Yes.
about being on an airplane, even when you're with your kids, they say you put the mask
Yes.
on you first, because if you
Right.
can't breathe, how are you going to be alive to take care of everybody else?
Right.
Right. So I'm still learning, but the next that
Mm-hmm.
next relationship is myself. And then after that is my husband.
Yeah.
So with him, I have I put dates in my phone. Like I put 3 days in my
Mm.
phone. That's our time. Now those dates can be adjusted.
Love that.
So it's not like I carve it in where it's like penciled in and only that day,
Right.
that evening or that evening is, so I put evenings in my phone. Only that evening is
Okay.
our time. But it reminds
Mm-hmm.
me that when I'm booking things, oh wait, I can't, because I need
Yeah.
time to make sure that whether we're just hanging out the house, whether we do
Yeah.
dinner, whatever, I just need to make sure that I don't overbook my schedule. So
Yes.
that's been really, really beneficial to me, because I am
Mm.
a, I'm an overcommitter.
Mm.
So that
Yes.
helps me out a lot
Oh,
with
I love
that. And I
that.
could tell people no, because I have work already, right? So I have my
Mm-hmm.
clients, they obviously
Mm-hmm.
they are very, very important to me. And so even though they're not in my top three, they're still up there. So even though I have the top three,
Yes.
they're just as important as my top three, because hey,
Yeah.
not only is my license on the line, two, like, if you
Mm-hmm.
ask them, like, I'm really big about turning clients into friends.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
I set the boundaries. I say, hey, Sundays I don't work. So even when I'm
Yeah.
interviewing to see if I'm a right fit for them, and if they're a right fit
Mm-hmm.
for me, I ask them, I'm say, hey, Sundays is my one day off. That's the one day I have with my
Yes.
husband. Are you
Yeah.
okay with that? Because if that's
Yeah.
their only day off and that's the only day they get to really like see houses or do things, then we're not a good match. And that's okay.
That's right.
It's a
That's
relationship.
right.
So
Yes.
I don't want to
Yes.
say, oh, I really, really need this deal, and I give up my Sundays and I'm angry, because guess what? People decide to not buy houses. And if they change their mind, I don't want to be angry and resentful and hold a grudge, or, just be angry.
That's
Two,
right.
remember, God is first, I'm
Yes.
second, my husband's third. So
Yeah.
all those things fall on a Sunday.
Yes. That is.
So I'm
That's where you
sorry, but
cover it
I
all.
can't. I can't give you
Right.
my Sunday. Now, in
Yeah.
saying that, which I tell them, we're in the middle of a negotiation and I have to do something for an hour, a half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I'm
Yes.
not going to be that, oh my gosh, I can't give you 30 minutes on my Sunday. If I have to get something done, I'm going to get it
Right.
done. But
Yes.
it's not, it's every so often if I have to, the due
Mm-hmm.
diligence period expires that Sunday. But I'm so
Right.
creative that I usually write up the contract that it doesn't expire on a weekend.
There you go. There you go. I love that so much. And
Yes.
one thing too that, like, what I also hear you saying is that you really come from a place of abundance,
Oh,
because when you're hustling, when you're like coming from like this scarcity mindset, you have no boundaries, right? And so when you were just talking, like that's also what I heard you saying, right? It's like I come from a place of abundance.
yeah. And you can't be
Hmm.
afraid. Because people ask me like, well, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't say it as we're moving through the transaction. That's the very
Yeah.
first conversation we have when we have our very first meeting to see if it's a good fit, because they
Right.
need to see if I'm a good fit for them. And I'm also seeing if they're a good fit for me, because not
Yeah.
everybody is a perfect match. It's, again, as I stated before, it's a relationship. And a lot of people
Yes.
respect
Hmm.
that. And again, it's all about setting those boundaries up front. And I tell them,
Hmm.
don't forget, if you have a question or whatever, send me that text. Just know
Yes.
on Monday.
Right. Yes.
Yes.
Set the expectation up front. I love that
Yes.
so much. That's so good. Okay. So yes, thank you so much for sharing that. And I love when actionable tips are shared. So it's like literally put it in your calendar if you need to. This is my family time. This is my time with my husband where like we don't know what we're doing, but we're just gonna have this time safe in the calendar. Yes, I love
And if
that.
I can add, because I know, and I used to be that person where I was so extremely structured.
Mm-hmm.
So, ladies or gentlemen, with your partner, don't be that structured because
Yeah.
spontaneity is very it's
Yeah.
critical. So when I say
Mm-hmm.
I put it in my calendar, I know I mentioned it before, but I want to make sure I reiterate it again. Put in your
Mm-hmm.
calendar as a reminder to not overbook.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
means if you have Wednesday already scheduled as in the evening, like, hey, or the morning or the lunch or whatever, like, hey, this is
Mm-hmm.
time that I'm going to spend with him or whatever it is, whether we do nothing
Mm-hmm.
together, but it's a
Yeah.
placeholder because I have it as a placeholder. If you have something coming up and you want to schedule it for that day, do it and then just move it over
Mm-hmm.
to a Thursday. Your time with
Right.
your spouse or your significant
Yes.
other to that Thursday or to that Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes. Yes. As a reminder, but like
Yes.
don't be so rigid that yeah, you lose the
Yes.
spontaneity. I love
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So now I want to talk about that. I love that sign behind you. For those of you who are watching the YouTube version of the podcast, it says it's okay to not be okay. Tell me all about it.
Oh, okay. So my platform is called Sparkle, Turning Darkness into Light. And it is about eradicating stigmas associated with mental health. We are
Mhm.
doing a really good job, I believe, with creating more awareness around mental health.
Yeah.
Our suicidal rate, though, is not decreasing like it should be. And
Mhm.
my profound belief is that we're not creating the environments and the spaces where people feel safe.
Mm.
And we also need to change our mindset. So first need to start with us. So we need to change
Yeah.
our mindset that it is okay not to be okay. That is okay to be human.
Yes.
Okay, so you go
Mhm.
through divorce, you're going to feel emotions, whether it be anger,
Yes.
whether it be grief because it's a loss,
Right.
right? Whether it be
Right.
hurt or pain, whatever it may be, you're going to go through that. And that seeing a therapist doesn't mean that you're weak. It just means
Mhm.
you need someone who is a trained, licensed professional to
Mhm.
coach you through those emotions. That's
Mhm.
all it is. So people who compete in fitness competitions, right? They get to that level quicker because they go through someone, they have a coach that's going to coach
Right.
them through that process,
Mhm.
right? People who play professional basketball, they have a coach who's going to
Yeah.
coach them to get them to that next level. They do things on their own, but they have a coach who
Mhm.
is a professional who has done it, who has the experience, who has the knowledge to get
Yes.
through that period in their life, through that journey. So that's for me. I'm adamant about changing cultures, about changing our
Mhm.
perceptions, about how we view things. Because when people come out and they say, "Hey, I'm not doing well," especially the
Mhm.
internet. Oh my God, we ridicule,
Yeah.
we create
And
meme,
social media. Yes. Mhm.
we laugh, we poke fun, and it's horrible. And then you wonder
Mhm.
why people don't say, "I'm not doing well." At
Mhm.
work,
Yeah.
if at work, if you tell your employee, your supervisor, your manager, whoever, "Hey, I just lost my mom or my sister or a really good
Mhm.
friend, and I need a moment," they're gonna look at you and go, "Tough it up. What do you mean? It's life.
Mhm.
Get over it. Oh my gosh, you have so much
Yeah.
to work for. Oh, there's a promotion is gonna come available. Are you strong enough? Are you ready for it mentally?" Yeah, you're
Mhm.
meant. Yeah, you
Mhm.
are, but you're human. In that moment, you just need empathy. In that moment,
Yes.
you might just need a little bit of help and support. That's it. Doesn't mean you're
Mhm.
incapable. It just makes
Right.
you human. And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Mhm. Yeah, you're so right about that. We really do have to change the work culture. And because that's so true, that example you gave, there's no space for that, for you to go have a moment, you know? Yeah.
Gonna be perfect all the time.
Mm.
All the time. I mean, if you think about it, you know, France laughs at us. it's not so much that they hate us, because they used to say that they hate us. It's not that they hate us, but they say we work way too much. And you think about it, we do. We do. I watched a TED talk recently. I wish I could remember her name, but she was fantastic. I had to watch it again. And she
Okay.
talked about chasing purpose versus chasing well-being. And her TED talk was about chasing well-being. And I went, whoa, that's why I had to watch it again, because I'm like, that's deep. I'm like, oh my,
Yes.
life is all about living in purpose. That's my
Yes.
story. But I'm like, probably have to go back and watch it again. But I get what she was saying, is that you got to, for me, I'm like, you have to create that balance. And it's so important, but it's hard when you're up against so much and the world expects so much from you. And the funny thing is we all know that perfection does not exist.
Yeah.
But yet we still expect you to be perfect. We still expect it. And I ask myself, why is it? And one thing is that if we don't change cultures when it comes from schools, and even the expectation that we have on our kids,
yeah,
they get all A's and then get 1C in one, whether it be math or Spanish. And it's like, oh no, you're on punishment. Okay, that's not their strong suit.
Right.
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But they're great in everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's I'm glad too that you mentioned like our youth, because I think if we can start making this a normal conversation to have with our young people, I think your mission, right, will that's one other way your mission can come to life, where these types of conversations are normalized.
Yes.
Right.
And I talk to kids at schools, and that's
Yeah,
what
I actually wanted to ask you, will you share with us a little bit, like, so what does it look like, your platform as you go and spread this word? Like, can someone book you for speaking engagements? So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so they can, you can definitely book me for speaking engagements, whether at schools, employer workplaces, which I'm really trying to get into that, because we do need to change the mindsets of our adults to help me help change the mindsets of our youth. Because I go to the schools, but even though they listen, even though we say our kids listen to everybody else, our kids really do listen to us. I shouldn't say they listen to us, they watch us.
Yes, that's so true.
They watch us.
That's so true.
So they watch how we are. They watch if we take care of ourselves. They watch how we set boundaries. They don't listen to what we say. They do what our actions do. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Right. That's how they behave. That's how they respond. So you can go to my website, being yourself, because there's no other person to be but yourself.
That's right.
TrinaMarie.com. And you can learn more about me there, see some of the things that I've done. And there's a contact me option. You can contact me there. You can send me an email directly to connect@beingTrinaMarie.com as well. And then my personal Instagram is Being Trina Marie. The same thing with the Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest. You can find me everywhere.
Perfect. Okay, I
love my
that.
USOA, my Miss Nevada page, until my term ends. But you can follow the next queen is USOA Miss Nevada.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And actually, let's stay on that. So tell us, what will that, as you continue to, we're only halfway through the year at the time of this recording, as you continue to, is reign the right word? May I use that word?
Yes. Yes.
As you continue to reign in this role and with this title, what is coming up for you the rest of 2022? And then will you compete again? How does that tell us what's coming up for you?
Okay, so I have, oh gosh, it's been so busy. I probably have done already over 60 activities between appearances and events since November, to be honest with you. And I have coming up, we're going to be in the downtown Summerlin Parade.
Okay.
4th of July.
Yes, for
We're
4th of
also
July. I
going to
love
have
that.
a meet and greet at Kendra Scott in downtown Summerlin on July
Mm.
7th. That's from like 5 to 8 o'clock. So you can meet the
Mhm.
queens,
Okay.
our state director, Katie. That's July 7th, like I said. And then I have another event coming up in August. We're still finalizing the date, but it's going to be
Okay.
working with the youth. They get to pretty much kind of pitch their ideas for like a grant for their business.
Oh, I love
That's kind of
that.
really exciting, yes.
Oh my
I
gosh.
just finished speaking with the youth at UNLV for the Nevada State Coalition to keep, kids off
Mhm.
drugs. And people don't
Yeah.
realize it, but drug addiction, alcohol addiction is connected to
Yes.
also mental health.
Yes. Yeah.
Let me see what else. And there's, I can't think right now, but there's things that always keep popping up as well. And then I'm actually
Mhm.
planning an activity too, an event as well, a fundraiser. Oh
Okay.
gosh, I'm the brand ambassador and I'm a board member of Solutions of Change. They're going to kill me if I didn't mention this, but I'm the board member and brand ambassador of Solutions of Change. We just did a Fancy Friday event this past Friday at Cork and Thorn, but we're having a Healing to Health Summit July
Mhm.
16th on Saturday. And
Okay.
it starts at 8 a.m. and it's going to be at the City of Las Vegas. And we're going to have
Okay.
workshops about just different topics regarding mental health. We're also including
Mhm.
information regarding and for the LGBTQ community,
Yes.
community.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's the name of the event is called No Shame,
No
because
shame.
we carry
Okay.
so much in general, everyone, right? A lot of times we carry a certain
Mhm.
shame, something that we've
Yeah.
done or something that was done to us.
Yes.
And, it's all about letting that go, right? Because when we
Mhm.
learn that we're not victims, but we're survivors, and we
That's so
start to
true.
begin to share our story, you begin to realize how
Yeah.
freeing it becomes.
Yes.
It's
I
really
love
freeing.
that. I love that you said that because, if we want to hold on to like that victimhood, it's like a place of disempowerment, but the opposite is true, right? When we think of ourselves as like survivors, it's a
And we're
completely
not
different
alone.
stance, right?
We're not
Yeah.
alone. When you share it, you'll be surprised that someone need to hear that message, because it gives them
Yeah.
permission to be able to share their story, right?
Hmm.
And then they realize
Yeah.
that there's nothing to be shameful about. And my aunt
Yeah.
shared this with me. I was in my 20s and I was like having a moment. And she said, and when she said it, I was just like, I heard it and it made
Rolled
sense,
your
but
eyes.
I still was just like, but then later, I mean, it really touched me. She said, we don't get to choose which cards get dealt our way, but we do get to choose how we want to play them.
Yes, that's so good.
And I was just like,
That's so good.
well, what happened to you? What happened to me didn't happen to you. When I first heard it, I was like, what?
Uh-huh.
That's that victim mentality, right? Like, what?
Yes.
What? But then later I went, you're
Yeah.
so right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that's so beautiful. And I think that's a beautiful way to end because, like, you are playing your deck well, right? Because you are using things that you've been through in your life as a child, a young adult, as a way to bring awareness. And that is so important.
Yeah.
So thank you
And
so much.
you're welcome. And I just want to add too, because I didn't mention, is
Yeah,
like,
of course.
the interesting thing about me is that my mom and my grandmother both suffer from a major mental illness. So I
Mm,
grew up, I mean, I had some things that happened to me when I was younger, and I grew up for a while thinking, oh my God, is something going to happen to me? Is something going to happen to my mind? So when I
yeah.
said, mentioned earlier about living in purpose, I was like, okay, God, you kept my mind sane for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So I have to do something. I have to create more awareness around it. And so when I said too,
Mhm.
when I heard that topic about well-being, because he's also
Yes.
talking about it's okay to say no to great opportunities, right?
Yes.
It's okay to say no, because that well-being
Yeah,
is just as important as you fulfilling your
absolutely.
purpose.
Oh gosh, I love that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to this August feature with TrinaMarie Shaw. And this has been a true pleasure. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yes, thank you so much for inviting me. And you guys take care. And
Absolutely.
remember, self-care is not selfish, it is a requirement.
Love it. All right, everyone. That's it. Have a great day.